الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. So in continuing discussing the book Bulugh al-Maram by Hafidh ibn Ḥajar al-ʿAsqalānī rahimahullah, we're discussing concerning of those matters regarding at-Taharah. So we're still discussing matter that he mentioned a hadith that relates to Taharah, and today we'll be discussing concerning a hadith that he mentioned as an Abi Qatādah radhiyallahu anhu, and the hadith that discuss concerning matters relating to the cat. So I'll read the hadith in English, and then we'll start to discuss the hadith as we'll normally do بإذن الله تبارك وتعالى. تفضل.
بسم الله الحمد لله والصلوات والصلاة والصلي وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Page number 22, Hadith number 9. Narrated Abu Qatada radiallahu anhu, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said about the cat, "It is not unclean, but is one of those who intermingle with you." Reported by al-Arba'ah, at-Tirmidhi and Ibn Khuzaymah, whether sahih, authentic.
So that's concerning this hadith that is mentioned here by the author Ibn Ḥajar rahimahullah regarding matters relating to al-Hirra, regarding concerning matter that relates to the cat and some of the ahkam that relates to this animal. So at the previous hadith that discussed concerning matter that relates to the dog, now we'll be discussing concerning another animal, that is the cat, as it is more of a domesticated animal. So he mentioned regarding this matter regarding an Abi Qatādah radhiyallahu anhu أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال في الحرة إنها ليست بنجس إنما هي من التوافين عليكم أخرجه الأربعة وصححه الترمذي وابن خزيمة. So this is what is mentioned regarding Ibn Ḥajar rahimahullah, what he mentioned regarding this particular hadith. So he mentioned regarding concerning this hadith that so first we'll discuss concerning this matter regarding the tarjuma of the Sahabi, the narrator of this hadith was Abi Qatādah radhiyallahu anhu, where the ulama regarding Abu Qatādah, that they have mentioned his name is Abu Qatādah, as his kunya, Harith, al-Harith ibn al-Rabi'i, al-Ansari, al-Khazraji, and of those of the Sahaba who participate in the battle of al-Uhud, and also those that came after. So he participated in the battle of Uhud, of the early battles, and also those battles that came after. So Abu Qatādah radhiyallahu anhu, that of those Sahabi who participated in that battle, and in general concerning, he died regarding concerning a tawaffa, that fi al-Madinah, that he died in Medina in the year 54 al-Hijri. So in the year 54 al-Hijri, he died that particular year. So that's concerning something brief regarding that Sahabi who was Abu Qatādah radhiyallahu anhu, the Sahabi who have narrated this hadith. Then as for the next matter that we'll discuss concerning Tahrij of the hadith. So regarding Tahrij of the hadith, by way of mentioning some of the primary sources of the hadith, where this hadith can be found in the books of hadith, and also giving the judgment of the ulama pertaining to this particular hadith regarding is it authentic or not. So that's by way of those concerning Tahrij, concerning of those sources that have narrated this hadith or collected this hadith, that they have mentioned Muwatta of Imam Malik. So of those who have collected this hadith, Imam Malik rahimahullah in his book al-Muwatta. Also of those who have collected the hadith, that as mentioned, he mentioned Abu Dawud in his Sunan, also at-Tirmidhi in his al-Jami', Nasahi in his Sunan, and also of those Ibn Majah in his As-Sunan. And also he mentioned also others. We have the likes of Ibn Khuzaymah, who have also narrated this hadith, also Ibn Hibban, who have also collected this hadith, and also al-Hakim also have collected this particular hadith. Also amongst them Imam Ahmed in his book al-Musnad, so Ahmed in his book al-Musnad, and also ad-Darimi and others. So find that many of the books of hadith have collected this particular hadith, and as we mentioned, so in brief, Imam Malik in his book al-Muwatta, Ahmed in his Musnad, Imam Abu Dawud as-Sajistani in his Sunan, also at-Tirmidhi in his book al-Jami', also an-Nasa'i, also in his Sunan, Ibn Majah in his Sunan. Also, additional to this, also we have the likes of Imam Ibn Khuzaymah, also Ibn Hibban, and also al-Hakim. And I will mention ad-Darimi and Ibn Jarud and others who have narrated this particular hadith. So that's concerning those sources that this hadith can be found. Also, of the things that before the next matter regarding this particular hadith, that he mentioned the next thing regarding the aqwal of the ulama of hadith regarding their ruling or their take on this hadith. So regarding the darajat, the level of the checking on this hadith by the ulama of hadith, that we find that of the ulama who have authenticated this hadith. So we find many of the ulama that they have authenticated this hadith. So amongst those who have authenticated the hadith, that I mentioned Imam Bukhari rahimahullah. So Imam al-Bukhari, who have authenticated this hadith, as narrated upon him by Abu Isa at-Tirmidhi. So Abu Isa at-Tirmidhi, that at times he would narrate concerning the ruling of Imam Bukhari on hadith, as Imam at-Tirmidhi rahimahullah was one of the students of Imam Bukhari and also captured some of his ruling on a hadith. So he mentioned that, Sa'altu Muhammad, yani Ibn Ismail al-Bukhari, that he asked, meaning Muhammad ibn, meaning Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah, and هذا hadith, on this particular hadith, فقال, then Bukhari rahimahullah mentioned, Jawad al-Malik ibn Hanas, هذا hadith at Imam Malik, that he all hadith to be Jawad, and kind of somewhat showing that is in agreement with the ruling passed by Imam al-Malik upon this hadith. So, second of those of authentic hadith, Imam Malik. So Imam Malik rahimahullah, all the hadith to be authentic. Third, Abu Isa at-Tirmidhi, that in his al-Jami' or his Sunan, that he mentioned when he narrated this hadith, then he mentioned at the end, he mentioned after stating this hadith, he called hadithun hasanun sahih. Hadithun hasanun sahih. That is hadith, it is hasanun sahih. Then he mentioned وَهَذَا أَحْسَنْ شَيْءٍ رُؤْيَ فِي هَذَا بَابٍ, that this is the most authentic or the best thing that have been narrated in regarding this particular discussion, regarding this particular bab, meaning this discussion. Of those also of authentic this hadith, we have the likes of Uqayli in his book al-Du'afa. So we have Uqayli also of authenticated hadith, فقال إسناده ثابت صحيح. So Uqayli rahimahullah also of authenticated hadith. Amongst them also ad-Daraqutni. So Imam ad-Daraqutni rahimahullah, one of the ulama of Ilal, and I've written a book called Al-Ilal that he mentioned because that also of authenticated this hadith. Also we have the likes of Ibn Khuzaymah, and also likes of Ibn Hibban, and also al-Hakim, that all those of authentic hadith, and they mentioned in their book that they refer to as Sahih. And also others, Ibn Abdul Barr in his book At-Tamheed, that also of authentic hadith. Then also we find the likes of Imam al-Bayhaqi in his book Ma'rifatul Sunan wal Athar, that he authenticate also this hadith by mention Isnaduhu Sahih wa ihtimad alayh, that the hadith is authentic and that people rely upon this hadith. So that's concerning of the ulama. And also we may add regarding of the contemporaries, so those are the ulama of the past who have authenticated the hadith. Also you find the likes of An-Nawawi in his book Al-Majmu'. So Imam An-Nawawi rahimahullah in his book Al-Majmu' that have also authenticated this hadith. And also Ibn Taymiyyah, of those who have authenticated hadith. So this hadith I've mentioned many of the ulama who have authenticated this hadith. And of contemporaries who have authenticated hadith from the ulama of hadith, we have the like of Shaykh Albani rahimahullah in his Abi Dawud, Sunan Abi Dawud, and also Sheikh Shuaib Arnahout. So Shuaib Arnahout also in his Sunan Abi Dawud, that he has authenticated this hadith. So those are of those who have authenticated hadith. So as we mentioned, those are the ulama who take in the view that this hadith that is authentic. Then we'll find that a few of the ulama of hadith, or a few of the ulama who have somewhat criticized this hadith. So we'll find that some of the ulama also have criticized this hadith. Amongst them who have criticized this hadith, Ibn Manda. So Ibn Manda, of somewhat as mentioned by Ibn Daqiq al-Eid and others. So Ibn Manda, of those who have criticized the hadith, and also Ibn Daqiq al-Eid, who somewhat agrees with his criticism. So Ibn Daqiq al-Eid, of ulama of also who have written books regarding books in Hadith al-Ahkam, that also have criticized this particular hadith. And the reason for their criticism of the hadith, that they mentioned that two reasons. One regarding of the narrators, Hamida bin Ubaid, who's one of the narrators of the hadith, and also Kabsha, so we have Hamida, and also Kabsha, who are female narrators. So these are two female narrators of the hadith. So they have narrated the hadith So Ibn Manda, who have criticized hadith, he criticizes the hadith based upon these two female narrators. Based upon that, not sufficient information that have come to us regarding them. So that they are said to be what they refer to as majhul, that their situation regarding matters mentioned or being coming back to us, to the ulama, regarding criticizing them or praising them, there's no such information. So they've been mentioned according to Ibn Manda, but there's no praising or criticism or anything said about them, so he's said to be majhul. And also not many people have narrated upon them. So he labeled them as majhul, and that's the reason of his criticism of the hadith, and why the hadith is said not, why all the hadith to be not authentic. Then of the ulama who have authenticated hadith also have responded to that criticism, mentioned that, as for those two narrators regarding Hamida and also Kabsha, that is not as mentioned by Ibn Manda. So you find that they have mentioned the books, so they of the likes of the ulama who have somewhat mentioned them in the book of Thiqat. So Ibn Hibban in his book of Thiqat, that he has mentioned them. So he have mentioned regarding them in his book of Thiqat, and also Ibn Sa'd also have mentioned that Kabsha Aslamat Kabsha, that she is actually among the Sahabiyat. So Kabsha is actually among the Sahabiyat. So Ibn Sa'd and also others who have mentioned that they are from the Sahabiyat. So that kind of somewhat show that they are not as mentioned by Ibn Manda. So that's concerning the response of the ulama who hold that the hadith, that all the narrators are authentic and known and have authentic hadith. So that's concerning the ruling on the hadith and the aqwal of the ulama, and those who hold the hadith to be authentic, sahih, and those who say differ. Then as for the hadith also, that they are mentioned that even the criticism of the hadith also, the hadith of shawa'id, so the hadith of Abi Qatada, you have other hadith that comes with the same meaning or even the same wording. And of those hadith, they mention regarding the hadith of Aisha, and also the hadith of Anas, and also other narration of the hadith of Abi Qatada. So they mention that the hadith, based upon with all these factors, we have other narration of the hadith from other sources of the books of hadith, from other companions, that also when all of those are combined together, that hadith, it considered to be authentic. So that's concerning that discussion regarding the hadith. So the hadith that with a majority of the ulama of hadith, that we have all the hadith to be authentic. And next matter, just kind of somewhat to bring to our attention regarding the hadith. So regarding, as we mentioned, that Ibn Ḥajar rahimullah, that when he wrote this book, kind of somewhat book that he did ikhtisar. So at times he was somewhat shorten the hadith and just mention the point of reference that is needed for that hadith, without mentioning the hadith in its full length. So at times he will condense or shorten the hadith and only mention the portion of the hadith that he sees as what is needed as a proof. But at times, sometimes it may have some matter that needs to be reviewed. So of that matter, when he mentioned this hadith, and the hadith, we go back to the book of Sunan Abi Dawud. So in the books of Sunan Abi Dawud, this hadith is mentioned in the in the books of Abu Dawud, where he mentioned regarding concerning that when this hadith is mentioned. So according to this check, in the hadith number is 75. So according to this hadith in Sunan Abi Dawud, that is number 75. So he mentioned regarding concerning the hadith is mentioned by Imam Abu Dawud rahimahullah bisanadihi, with his isnad, and it goes back to that he mentioned kana tata ibn Abi Qatada anna Abu Qatada dakhala. Then he mentioned the hadith to the end, and he mentioned, obviously he mentioned that we'll come back to, then he mentioned anna Rasulullah sallallahu qala, the Prophet sallallahu he said, innaha laysat binajas, innaha min at-tawafin alaykum what tawafat. So the shahid is that when Ibn Ḥajar rahimahullah, that he mentioned the hadith of Abi Qatada. So the narration of Abi Qatada in Sunan Abi Dawud mentioned innaha min at-tawafin alaykum. That's where Ibn Ḥajar stops. But there's another wording which is what tawafat, which he did not mention. So Ibn Ḥajar rahimahullah, he didn't mention that additional wording which is wa tawafat. So it mentioned concern that, so that's concerning of those things that in condensing the hadith, but also he missed that word which is directly connected to the hadith and is a part of the hadith. So it is more befitting that what tawafat also should have been mentioned and not be left off. Then that's concerning that perspective regarding the hadith of Abi Qatada. There's a second hadith that that Abu Dawud rahimahullah that he mentioned immediately after this hadith of Abi Qatada, which is the hadith of Aisha radhiyallahu anha. So that the hadith of Aisha radhiyallahu anha, it mentioned that it mentioned أنها meaning al-Hurra laysat binajas, that al-Hurra, it is not najas, is not impure. That it mentioned إنما هي من التوافين عليكم, but it mentioned إنما هي من التوافين عليكم, and it stops there. So either that so the wording that is mentioned by Ibn Ḥajar in his book Bulugh al-Maram, it fits exactly the wording of the hadith of Aisha. It fits exactly with the wording of the hadith of Aisha. But as for concerning, or more so the wording of Aisha, but as for the wording of Abi Qatada, there were some words that were left out that is directly connected to the hadith regarding concerning the subject of the discussion of the hadith. So that's concerning something to be mindful of, and that is why of the advice regarding concerning studying of books of hadith, that is always beneficial regarding the one who study and teaches these books, that they try to go back to those hadith, to the original sources, so to ensure that the hadith wording is as mentioned in the original sources. At that time, Ibn Ḥajar rahimahullah may condense the hadith. At times, it may kind of somewhat need to be reviewed regarding a time, condensed in certain hadith where certain words are missed, where those wordings are directly connected to the topic of discussion. So that's one of those points, and of those things that this book has been, somewhat of those things that has been mentioned of that one should be mindful of in studying this book, that at times certain wordings or certain hadith are mentioned in brief, and certain things are missed, but those things that are missed in the hadith, it's directly connected to the hadith. It's directly connected with the hadith. So that's concerning that point in general. Also, the next of those matters regarding concerning, the next discussion concerning that, when we go back to Abu Dawud, regarding concerning that, as the ulama have mentioned, that this hadith also, it comes with a reason behind this hadith. So what Ibn Ḥajar rahimahullah mentioned, the wording of the Prophet ﷺ, but there's also like a story, there was an event that occurred relating to this hadith, which is the sabab of the hadith, the reason behind this hadith. So it mentioned regarding, where it mentioned concerning the hadith, it mentioned that أن أبا قتادة دخل, that Abu Qatada, he entered, فسكبت له وضوء, where water was poured for him, فجاءت حرة, so a cat entered, فشربت من, and it drank from the vessel that contained the water, فأصغلها إنا حتى شرب, so the vessel was put closer to the animal, so the animal could drink from it. The cat could drink from that vessel. قالت كبشة, so one of the narrators was Kabsha, and as we mentioned that of those of the ulama, that that she's a sahabiya, that mentioned فرآني انظر إليه, so she was like observing what was going on, watching the cat drinking from that vessel. So it mentioned فقال يعني أبا قتادة أتعجبين يا ابنة أخي, oh the son of my daughter, are you somewhat amazed by what is taking place, meaning the cat drinking from that vessel that contained water for him to perform wudu. فقالت فقلت يعني أبا قتادة, the lady said قلت نعم, she was فقال أن رسول الله عليه السلام قال إنها ليس بنجس, meaning concerning إنها, يعني the cat is not something which is najis. ليس بنجس is not najis. إنها من توافين عليكم وتوافات, it is something which is the tawafin alaykum wa tawafat. So the reason behind that hadith, kind of somewhat also that story can also explain either further that regarding what was the event that was taking place then, where the cat entered and drank from that vessel that contained water for the purpose of making wudu, and Abu Qatada still used that and mentioned that the cat is something which is pure, that mentioned that the cat is of those animals that are pure, and then give the reason behind this. So as for what can be taken from this hadith regarding concerning that what can be taken from the hadith regarding of the ahkam. So of the ahkam now that relates to this hadith. As for the ahkam that relates to this particular hadith, then the first of those ahkam that relates to hukum Surah Hirra. So hukum Surah al-Hirra. So what's the ruling pertaining to the the ruling pertains to the things that the cat drink from and it is left. So concerning what's the leftover water used by a cat. So if the cat was to drink from a vessel and that water that remains, what's the ruling regarding that water that is left behind? Regarding that matter, that ulama rahimahullah, that they have two madahib. So amongst the ulama, you find that of those, in summary, the view of the jumhur of the ulama, who takes the view that concerning the leftover water of the cat that they drank from, it is something which is pure. So the leftover water used or water used, drunk from by a cat, and leftover it is something which is pure. Meaning pure in the sense that the person can still use it regarding making wudu and the likes. So that's concerning, and the evidence that they use the hadith, that is here concerning the hadith of Abi Qatada. Then Imam At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah, that of the benefit of the books of At-Tirmidhi, that there's various benefits of the books of At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah, of the thing that he mentioned, the book that he mentioned concerning that, he will mention regarding some of the aqwal of the ulama pertaining to the hadith that is mentioned. So when he mentioned hadith, or that bab, or that discussion, then he will at time in a summary mention the aqwal of the ulama. So At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah will mention the hadith that is being studied. Then also he'll mention regarding the hukum upon that hadith. Second. Third, Imam At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah also will mention concerning that some criticism of the narrator if at times. Also At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah, that also that he'll mention the aqwal of the ulama regarding what is said around that hadith or that masala. Also At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah, then also he'll mention other related hadith to that particular hadith, other related hadith that are referred to as shawahid or mutabi'at. It will mention also those ahadith. So you find those various benefits that is related to the book of At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah tabaraka ta'ala. So he mentioned At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah mentioned بعد إخراج على حديث of أبي قتادة رضي الله عنه قال وهو قول هو قول أكثر علماء, that regarding من أصحاب النبي عليه السلام والتابعين ومن بعدهم مثل الشافعي وأحمد وإسحاق ولم يروا بأسا بصر حرة. We mentioned that the qawl of majority of the ulama, most of the ulama, from amongst them the Sahaba, the Tabi'een, and those who came after them, and amongst them he mentioned of the A'immat al-Mashhur, Imam Shafi, Imam Ahmed, wal Ishaq, that they all concerned that there's nothing wrong with nothing wrong regarding the leftover water used by, drank from by the cat. So that's concerning the view of the jumhur of the ulama. The second view is the view held by the ulama of the Abu Hanifa rahimullah. So Imam Abu Hanifa rahimullah, that they all concerning that, they mentioned that one, the leftover water of the hir, of the cat, they mentioned is najis. Their view, it is najis, as they hold it to be of a animal which is of the predatory animal. They hold it to be predatory animal, one which is an animal of prey. So they hold it to be najis, but they mentioned because it move around people, it's domesticated. I want to mention yukhafif. They all that know yukhafif. The ruling becomes they all that it is lesson to karahiyah. That's concerning. So this is the asl, though it is najis, but due to the fact that this animal, the cat, it lives amongst people, then they all that know. So they kind of somewhat lessen the ruling to which is it is dislike, karahiyah. It is dislike. That's concerning the ruling of the Ahnaf regarding this particular matter. And they come to conclusion based upon some hadith that some of those hadith are on the discussion or week where they mention concerning some hadith that where they mention that so you have that discussion regarding that they will mention regarding al-hirra subah sabah, that al-hirra, it is said to be a animal of prey, order to be an animal of prey, but the hadith is under some discussion regarding its authenticity. So that's concerning that particular matter. And other hadith that they use are not hadith that are directly related to the topic. As they mentioned concerning the hadith that is said that إذا كان ماء قلتين لم ينجسه شيء. If a water have reached قلتين, it doesn't become impure, which is outside the discussion. And also third, they use as dalil also regarding that they make qiyas. So they make a qiyas, a form of analogy, with that of the cat, with that of the dog, as previously discussed. So they make an analogy where they can somewhat equate concerning the cat with the dog regarding this ruling of what is what they drank from. So that's concerning of the Adillat they use. So let's know that the hadith is sarih, the hadith is very clear regarding concerning the cat. being that which is pure. So also from that also it shows regarding that the cat is something with the animal which is pure. So regarding concerning that, as some of the ulama have mentioned regarding, so the purity of the animal regarding concerning that the saliva from their mouth is pure. As we know the cat to be, as generally known that the cat to be very clean animals, and even their tongue is somewhat of things that purify things. Also, so the cat, regarding their saliva, it is pure. Thing that is in their mouth is considered to be pure. That is eld or food that they have ate is considered to be pure. Also, general touching of the cat is considered to be pure. So all these things regarding to the cat, that is said to be pure. So that's concerning that matter regarding the leftover water of the cat. And also the cat itself is said to be a pure animal. At the hadith clearly clarified this matter, mentioned innama or innaha laysat binajas, and discussing regarding al-hirra, regarding the cat, which is it is not considered to be najas. So the Prophet ﷺ clarified that the cat is not said to be najas, and that will take the meaning that it is something which is pure. So that's concerning the first matter regarding that discussion. Other matter that discussed concerning that the ulama discussed concerning other animals that regarding concerning other wild animal, which is animal of prey. So animal of prey that I mentioned sur, as-siba'. So poor concerning as-siba', which is concerning animals that are prey. That was the ruling regarding these animals. So the ulama rahimahullah have clarified regarding concerning that with these animals that as mentioned here concerning اختلف الناس في ذلك, with the ulama, they have a difference between the ulama on that matter. So amongst the ulama regarding predatory animals of prey, are they najis or not, regarding their leftover water, that they mentioned that كان أنس بن مالك ومن وافقه من أهل الإجاز لا يرون بسؤرها بس. That all the ulama of like Anas bin Malik, that they all concerned that the leftover water that is used by these animals of prey, that he mentioned they're okay, that they are la bas, meaning that it is tahir, it is something which is pure. So that's the view of some of the ulama, and of them Anas bin Malik and those who agree with this from the ulama of al-Hijaz. So Hijaz meaning concerning Medina and Mecca of the ulama of the past. Then I mentioned Ali Iraq wa ashab al-Rahi فإنهم يكرهون ذلك. But the ulama of of Iraq and also the ulama of Ali Rahi, that they are said to be, that their view that it is something which is, they mention yakrahuna, that they dislike regarding this matter, meaning concerning it is something which is not pure. So that's concerning the ulama regarding that particular matter, regarding concerning these animals of prey, where of the ulama who hold that it is pure, and of those who hold it is not. And of those, so that's concerning that discussion between the ulama. So they mentioned regarding concerning these animals that the asl, it goes back to, so looking at the asl of these animals, that mentioned at the madhab of Imam Malik and Imam Shafi rahimahullah wa man ma'ahuma, and an asl fi ashya tahara, that the asl fi general things is tahara, including these animals, ولا يحكم بنجاستها إلا بالدليل الصحيح الصريح, where a person does not per se pass a judgment on these animals that they are impure until there's clear dalil to say otherwise. So regarding concerning that those animals that have been mentioned by way of clear dalil is regarding the dog, and also including concerning the pig, also other animals. Is there any clear evidence source that state that these animals outside these ones that they are impure? So that's concerning that. So based upon this, of those who are more inclined toward the view that that they are said to be pure until there's evidence to say otherwise. But for those who say that they are not pure, that they pass a judgment based upon qiyas of concerning the pig and that of the dog. Qiyas meaning analogy, so they can somehow equate those animals with that of the dog and the pig, and they pass the same judgment. So that's concerning that matter. Then also you have concerning al-himar. So concerning also you have like the donkey. What's the rule regarding if the donkey was to drink from a container? Is this considered to you, what's the ruling regarding this? What is it, pure or not? Can it be used or not be used? Again, concerning the matter on this, also the khilaf between the ulama on this particular matter, that you find that Ahmad ibn Hanbal rahimahullah, that as a view regarding في رواية أن بطهارة that the water used by these or drunk from by these animals regarding the himar and the mule, that they said to be with Ahmed as a riwayah that it is pure. It is pure. And of those who all concerned the innaha rich, that the hadith discussing concerning al-humra ahliya, and also that so you have that discussion between ulama that those who all that it is najas, that they are najas, and they use a hadith of Anas bin Malik regarding concerning that humra ahliya, which is umra ahliya, that they are najas, that they are najas. So that's concerning those view regarding those matter. But you find that Ibn Qudamah rahimahullah mentioned as-sahih indi, yani Taharah al-Bugh wal-Himar لأن النبي الإسلام كان يرقبها, that he mentioned that the Prophet Islam that these animals that are written that people ride regarding him, the donkey and also the likes of the mule and the likes, that they are pure because the Prophet Islam used to ride these animals, that the Prophet Islam used to ride upon these animals, and also the Sahaba. So that's concerning of those who are inclined towards that it is these animals are pure. Then also regarding concerning animal, so those are animals, other animals that are discussed concerning that are concerning al-khayl, which is concerning the horse. So also the horse, as those animals are used a lot by people regarding riding, that Abu Ubaid rahimahullah that mentioned al-amr fihi sal, regarding concerning the matter regarding a horse, regarding concerning that the matter is somewhat very easygoing. The matter is much more relaxed regarding concerning the horse. لأن أهل العراق يرخصون أكل لحمها, where some of the ulama that have given a permissibility that the animals, the horse animal can be eaten. So based upon this, that they can somewhat more give some leniency regarding that it is not completely impure. It is not completely impure. And regarding concern that Jumhur of the ulama take the position that these animals that concern that the khayl, which is the horse, that it is permissible to be eaten. Khilaf al-Anafiyya wal-Malikiyya. So the khilaf, so mean concern the Malikiyya and the Shafi and the Ahnaf, all concerning it is not allowed to eat of the horse, but Jumhur of the ulama, majority of the ulama, take the position that it can be eaten. It can be eaten. So that's concerning some of those masail that are discussed. Some of the masail that are discussed. Also, of those matters, so that's concerning of the masail that relates to this hadith, of the masail that relates to this particular hadith. Of the fawaid that will be discussed, also next matter that is discussed regarding concerning in specific regarding the cat, is it they have mentioned that of the ulama who all concerning that Ibn Abdul Barr rahimahullah he mentioned abaha ittikhada hirra, that one from the benefit of the hadith it shows that it is permissible and allowed for a person to have within their house or in their surrounding having a cat. So living with a cat, living in the house, then this is something which is permissible. So a person having and having ownership of a cat and taking care of a cat, this is something which is allowed. Then also, and it could be live in the house and also even in the or in other places, even in the masajid, so depending on the environment where the cat can live amongst people, Also, a discussion between the ulama: is it allowed for a person to buy and sell a cat? Is it allowed to buy and sell a cat? That will be discussed again in concerning later on again. But as a general discussion, as a general matter, there's a discussion between the ulama regarding is it allowed. So A'immat al-Arba that I mentioned that give some allowance regarding the sale of cat, and the person so of the A'immat al-Arba that they give some allowance regarding the sale of cats. But you find that others who do not share that view, of them Ibn Qayyim, Ibn Taymiyyah, and others who do not per se share that view. But that's concerning in a nutshell, in brief. But that will be discussed further regarding Kitab al-Buyu. So regarding of those things that is allowed to be sold or not, that will be discussed in more detail in Kitab al-Buyu. But in brief, that a discussion between the ulama where those who all that is permissible said fi'i intifa, because of this animal that is a benefit that can be gained from it, then they all that it's allowed then to be sold. That's the view taken by some of the ulama. But others who may not per se share that view regarding is it allowed to sell the sale of the sell of the cat and the purchase of a cat. So that's concerned the discussion on that particular topic. So our next matter to be discussed, as we mentioned, that with this matter, we'll find that of those things regarding, as we mentioned, studying of these books of Hadith, that is important also, knowing concerning that between the ulama of Hadith, at times that we will mention regarding that there is difference between the ulama regarding their judgment on a particular Hadith. And the reason what we might find that the ulama regarding their study of Hadith, that at times some Hadith it is agreed upon ijma that the Hadith is authentic. So you find all the ulama of Hadith that they agree upon that this Hadith is authentic without any, and anyone who may say anything contrary to that are people who are not from al-Hadith. So you find that so on this in the discussion, the passing of judgment on a Hadith, then this go back to the ulama of Hadith and we look to them first and foremost. So if they agree regarding a Hadith being considered to be authentic, then we accept it is from them. Or we might find that they agree upon a Hadith being da'if, being weak. And third, you'll find that at times they may differ on a particular Hadith to see, does this Hadith comply with the condition that is laid down and agreed upon regarding authenticity. So at times you might find some Hadith that there's a discussion between ulama, does this Hadith fulfill the criteria of a Hadith being authentic? So you might find some of the ulama of the Hadith, it does fulfill the criteria, and those who hold it does not. So you find that difference between them. So that's when you find the difference that may occur between the ulama. So those criteria for Hadith being authentic, that the ulama mentioned, there are 5 criteria. So there are 5 criteria for Hadith to be deemed authentic. Now, so they agree in principle, they agree regarding the condition, but they may differ at times on some Hadith. Do they fulfill these criteria? So these criteria are as follows. Regarding authenticity, 1, ittisal as-sanad. So ittisal as-sanad, where the Hadith comes with a continuous chain. Second, Adillat al-Rawat. Second, Adillat al-Rawat, where that all the narrated, they fulfill certain criteria regarding their level of diyana. So adala, it goes back to the person diyana. It goes back to the person level of obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his level of compliance to Islamic rules and laws. So in a person's conduct and his level of practice of Islam, then this will decide the person's adala. So the person is more God-fearing and apply Islam, then that will raise his credibility and his adala. Second, the third of those conditions is regarding dabt al-rawat, so that each narrator also must have a level of preciseness regarding their account of or their narration of the hadith. So regarding dabt or hifz, that they have preserved and memorized the hadith correctly. The fourth of those conditions, adam al-shudud. Adam al-shudud. So the fourth of those criteria for hadith, that a hadith should not have anything which is considered to be shadz, which is the ulama of hadith, that shad means which is something which is going in contradiction or in conflict. And that is explained regarding shadz. There's no discrepancy in the hadith to some degree. And as for adam al-illah, that also there is no hidden defects. So regarding al-illah, adam al-illah, where there was no hidden defects in the hadith, where the hadith from what is apparent, it seems okay, but in reality that's not the case. So the defect in the hadith is something that may be missed by some, but it's the hadith from what is apparent seems okay, but that's not the reality. So the defect in the hadith, the criticism of the hadith is something which is very, goes into detail. So that's concerning those criteria regarding hadith. So any hadith that fulfill these 5 criteria is said to be hadith sahih. Now, the difference between the ulama, it lies upon, does the hadith that they are studying, does it fulfill all these criteria? If any one of these criteria are missed, not fulfilled, then the hadith is considered to be da'if. If any of these criteria are not fulfilled, then the hadith is said to be da'if. So the first, adam al-ittisal, as-sanad, so if there's a weakness, where the hadith have a breakage, inqita', there's some form of breakage, inconsistency amongst the narrators, then it's considered to be da'if. And da'if meaning weak, the hadith is weak, unacceptable. The second, adala or rawat, if any of the narrators considered to be of those people that, due to certain factors, is not considered to be that, is adala is to be taken, but he has broken certain trusts or certain things that remove his adala. And of those things, you find various factors that may impact on the person's adala. Amongst them, regarding concerning the person being from people from Ahlul Bidah, to what extent and when does this affect the person's adala? That's a deep discussion between the ulama of hadith. So regarding concerning of adala, that a narrator sometimes is criticized because of him being from Ahlul Bidah. But there's a discussion that goes in depth regarding a person from Ahlul Bidah, at what point is his narrations not accepted. So that's concerning another discussion goes in detail between the ulama of hadith. Also regarding a dabt or riwat, regarding a person level concern that he's not very accurate in his narration, then also that would impact on that will be a reason for the hadith to be dismissed, because the person not very precise and he makes errors a lot. Then also for Adam al-Illa wa Adam al-Shudud, those two, then those are the more fine detail regarding ilm al-Hadith. The more fine detail where that amongst the ulama of the mutaakhirin, the ulama of more latter time, that sometimes they are sometimes not as thorough in those areas as they should be. So at times you might find some ulama of latter times in those two areas regarding Adam al-Illa wa Adam al-Shudud, that sometimes they are not as thorough, as detailed in these matters as expected. Because a lot of study of hadith in more of recent time, it more revolve around the first three conditions that I mentioned: ittisal al-sanad, adalat al-riwat, dabt al-riwat. A lot of discussion is more regarding those matters, and sometimes less regarding matters regarding the two last criteria. So that's of something to be mindful of. So overall, so these are the things that want to be mindful of. So when a person from the ulama, or when we state that a khilaf between the ulama, that one we are talking about ulama who are said to be bona fide people of specialists in the field of hadith, not just anyone who may have some love for hadith and may have a certain degree of study of hadith, but they're not said to be specialists that we can rely upon their views. So a person might have studied hadith to a certain degree, but still that person is ruling on hadith is not counted, because he's not to that level of speciality. And in every century you find that the people of hadith, there are very few people. There are very few people who have mastered the science as it should. So that's concerning those matters to be mindful of regarding concerning as we study this book, Bulugh al-Maram, as a book of hadith, and of those things that needs to be verified and to be checked is that concerning that hadith being authentic or not. And those matters go back to the ulama of hadith. Some of the people who sometimes may explain these books, at times they may overlook concerning the verification of hadith. So of those who have explained the book Bulugh al-Maram, some of the that of contemporaries at times they may overlook the study of the hadith by way of the hadith ruling, and they more concentrate regarding what can be extracted from the hadith. So that's concerning those things to be mindful of. To be mindful of. With this, inshallah ta'ala, we'll end this discussion. We'll end the discussion regarding concerning that from the hadith. It shows regarding the fawahid that having a cat as I've said, a pet to live with a person and live amongst us is not something which is allowed. Also from the hadith, it shows when it said tawafat, that concern that they live amongst us. Cat, whether being a resemblance, that's concerning tawaf, concerning like a khadim, a person who live amongst us and move around the person's family or in the house. So that's concerning those matters that Sheikh Bassam, that he mentioned of the benefit concerning that anna al-hirra laysa binajas, that from the hadith it shows that the benefit that cat is not said to be najas, la yanjis ma lamasathu, anything that it touches, or walagat fi, or things that it saliva may fall into, all those things are not considered to be najas. So when it touches anything, or the person touching it, or whether the person clothing or his body, it's not considered to be impure, as they are pure animals. Also the hadith can somewhat it clarified the illah. So the hadith also explained the reason why this judgment is passed that is not najis. It explained the reason behind this, because of it being of those who are tawafin or tawafat amongst us, that it live amongst us and move around us. And that kind of somewhat it shows regarding that. The next point regarding that Islam, it shows regarding Islam concerning of a taysir. So regarding certain matters of taysir of Islam, so not everything is always rigid, as some may think, that Islam considered regarding these matters. So a taysir, regarding concerning certain points regarding, or certain matters regarding Islam, that will find that there's ease. So taysir means there's ease. Also from the hadith, it shows regarding the ulama as a qawahid, amongst the ulama, that they mention al-mashaqqa tajlib at-taysir. So because the cat live amongst us, then with this, the Sharia make it easy regarding them living amongst us, where the ruling is relaxed regarding the cat, where they are not considered to be najis. So that's concerning the taysir. So where there's to remove mashaqqa when necessary. And also any animals that may fall into as domesticated animals, that would be also that of a cat, that is similar to a cat, also that they will take the similar ruling. They will take similar rulings. That's concerned that matter regarding this matter, regarding of those things that, so as we said, an issue. So from this also, the hadith shows concern that it mentioned that innaha laysa binajis, that a Muslim to avoid thing which is najis. So from the hadith, it shows that a general thing that even within the house or things that live with us, that a Muslim should avoid things that are najis. So even concerning animals, so also regarding that our environment that we live in, also the Muslim should try to avoid things of najis, things that are impure. So a general thing that one should avoid things that are impure, things of filth in our environment. So of those, so even concerning animals that we live, that may live with us, that also are the things to be mindful of. Is this animal considered to be of those that are pure or impure? If it is impure, then a person to have it away from us. But if it is something which is pure, then it can live amongst us. So those are the things that can be taken from this matter. So that's concerning this particular hadith. So with that, inshaAllah ta'ala, we'll come to an end regarding discussing this hadith, and inshaAllah ta'ala we'll continue discussing others matter pertaining to the rest of the hadith that are discussed in this collection of Ibn Ḥajar rahimahullah, that is the book titled Bulugh al-Maram. وبالله تعالى توفيق وهذه السبيل والآخرة والحمد لله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.